Sonia Jacobs, the gun was in your name and had your prints on it. We also have a testimony from Walter naming you and your husband Jesse as the killers. What more do we need?
Walter's a liar! But I understand that there's evidence against me, and I can explain that. The gun has my prints on it because I bought it as a gift to my husband. I bought him one so he could protect our children and our home. I don't know why we thought to bring the gun with us that day, but we did. You see, Walter was Jesse's friend, and he was doing us a favor driving us to the beach that day. Me and my husband and our two beautiful children, Christina and Eric. We had such a lovely day, and afterwards Walter was going to drop us home. Only home wasn't where we ended up. You see, Walter wanted to stop off for food, and as he was doing us a favor driving us that day, we agreed. We stopped off at a gas station, and when we came back out, there was two officers standing next to the car. Officer Black and Officer Irwin. They wanted to speak to the owner of the car, so Walter stood with them, and my husband stayed with him, I guess just to see if he could help in any way. I just got into the car with my children because I didn't want them to see what was going to happen.
So you knew what was going to happen?
No, of course I didn't know what was going to happen. I just thought, I don't know what I thought, but I knew that my children were better off in the car when there was cops around. I couldn't hear what the officers were saying, and next thing I know, Walter opens the driver's door and he leans over to the passenger side. He picked up the gun that had been lying on the floor and he just looked at me. His expression was so blank. They've seen the gun, Sonny. They want to put me back inside because the gun's in my property. You see, Walter was on parole, so he couldn't have a gun. But the gun was in his car, his property. I'm sorry, was all he said as he turned and he got out of the car. I knew what that meant. I turned and I held both my children so close. I was terrified. And then, 2 shots.
The 2 shots that killed the 2 officers. So, you were saying you were in the car the whole time?
Yeah.
And you didn't witness the murders?
Well, yeah.
Then how can you be sure it was Walter, when it could have just as easily been your husband Jesse?
Because it wasn't! It was Walter! He took the gun out of the car and he did it! God, I know what this sounds like, but my husband isn't anything like that! My husband isn't anything like that!
That's
son
enough!
of a bitch!
Thank you, Mrs. Jacobs.
How do you find the defendant? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty!
Not guilty!